This is Charlie Parsons for Boxing Social in association with William Hill and Empire Fight Store. I should be happy, but I've just witnessed Southampton throw away a 3-1 against the league leaders Arsenal. But I've got Eduardinho here to just mug me off even more about matters.
And the best thing is, you've obviously been plaguing me for an interview, as you do, and I said, I'm ready now. And you had to leave the pub with, 8 minutes of extra time remaining. I mugged you off twice, telling you Arsenal got the winner in the 9th minute of injury time. And you know me, I'm not a mad football fan, but what's going on? Arsenal squeaky bum time? And you're going down, are you? Or
I think so.
Are you? How many beneath you?
Well, we're bottom. Slap bottom.
So no one.
Thanks, mate.
And so what you're saying is that goal you gave away in the 88th minute and the 90th minute was an absolute disaster for Southampton football.
Lost our heads.
I didn't even know Theo Walcott was still playing, in all honesty.
Shout out Theo Walcott in the very off chance that he sees us. Southampton FC, if you're listening, I will be down.
I've heard that Theo Walcott is a massive Parsons fan. Do you know what? Randomly, you'll probably find that some well-known people are actually. I think "fan's" the wrong word. Just have heard of you.
I feel like when you're can you be a fan when you're a well-known person? Well, of course you can. No. Okay, right. Let me reword that. Elton John, you can be a fan
Is he a
of.
Parsons fan?
Obviously, silly question. But if you're like James Madison, for example, right, you might enjoy my stuff, but you're clearly not a fan, are you? You can't be a fan of someone when you're James Madison.
Why? What, if you're James Madison, you can't be a fan of something?
No, you can if it's like Elton John, but you can't be a fan of me.
I think you can be a fan of anything, Parsons.
Are you a fan?
Of what?
Me.
No, not at all. Don't be ridiculous. But I think that you're, I wouldn't say that I was a fan. Is he a Southampton fan?
No, he's been mugging me off as well.
Oh, is he? I think you're all right. I think you're doing well. I mean, look, I'm here.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Respect it. A quick one. Cirencester, right? I know you can't come down
Can
or
I
something.
just say, you came up to me after the press conference, or whenever it was, before the press conference, and you went, Ed, what are you doing on Sunday, mate? And I'm like...
Because you don't reply to my text.
Well, and I'm like, I'm leaving like straight after the show. I want to watch my daughter play football on Sunday. You're like, do you want to come, like on the way back, do you want to come to Cirencester? Like, no.
Yeah, but realistically, right, when we talk about your schedule, which is mad, and I appreciate that, the only place that you're going to come back on the M4 to Essex is, you are going to pass Cirencester.
Right.
So this is the only time I can really hedge my bets.
Yeah, I will go to the Cotswolds at some point.
No, Cirencester.
The capital of the Cotswolds. So, yeah, I will go at some point, but not on Sunday after the show. I couldn't think of anything worse than going to the Cotswolds with Parsons on a Sunday off the back of a Joe Cordina victory with no sleep.
Thanks.
It's true, though. It would be awful. What an awful experience.
We're 3.5 minutes in, and I will just quickly say, I just got a notification from the group chat. How many minutes into Charlie's interview do we reckon until they start talking boxing? Higher or lower than 7 minutes? Definitely lower than 7.
Let's get it underway, because it is 10 past 15. 10 past 15?
10 past 15. Just quickly on that, and this is more for Matchroom as a whole. The Fight Day 5K.
Yes.
This will probably have been done by the time it's out.
News.
You're doing it?
I've done my calf.
No, but you've told me that, but that's bollocks.
It's not bollocks.
My calf hurts and I'm doing it.
But I've torn my calf. You're running well. Oh, well, no, sorry. You're doing well to run. You're not running well. I've seen you run. It's like you've got like a gammy arm when you run. You're like this. Like this.
I get messages whenever I
will say, well done. And I think the thing is, it's really annoying when people share their workouts on social media, especially when they're not very athletic, right? And I'm in the same boat, and I think it's muggy, but I think it helps you.
Oh, it does. It motivates me a little bit.
Well, that's your excuse. I saw that today.
But
I'm sharing it because I'm sharing it on my social because it motivates me. What a tosser!
I did get a few messages today saying I'm turning into you a little bit on that.
I repost some stuff with Kai that I think looks like if.
Oh, you look so like in them videos like. Oh.
Okay, yeah.
Eduardinho, 24 hours now. In fact, yeah, literally about 24 hours to now. Cordina, Rakhimov, Cordina, whatever you want to say. Joe going to do it?
I really believe he will. You know, I think he's going to stop him. I'm pretty sure that I think that Joe Cordina will stop him tomorrow night. I think the style suits Joe. The confidence is still there. I think that the sharpness is still there, and I think he deserves to be world champion after the Gal fight. And I think he'll get his belt back tomorrow night, and I think he'll win the fight by stoppage.
What's next after this fight, right? You don't want to overlook anything.
No, I think.
But we talk about stadium fights, they're hard to do, but...
Well, listen, we sold out tomorrow night. It's 5,000, it's a nice start. We've got to get the momentum back from the Gal fight. If he can win this fight by knockout, there are achievable unification fights to make in the division. And I would love him to do that, and I would love him to unify the division. Listen, if Zelfa Barrett looks good tomorrow night, I'd still love to make that fight. I think Cardiff against Manchester is a nice fight. But Joe's going to want to make up for lost time. And Joe's going to want him be in big fights, make big money, and everything rests on tomorrow night. I think it'll be a fantastic fight. I think it's going to be a fantastic card as well, in all honesty. And you like them, don't you?
Are you not wearing socks?
Do you know what? I don't really wear socks with trainers. Like, I'm one of those guys, Parsons. I don't really smell.
You stink, mate.
No, mate. I don't, like, even if I have a massive workout, I don't really have a lot of body odour. My feet don't smell. What?
My feet do ping.
Yeah, but
everything else with me,
and I just feel like they look terrible with socks. And whenever we go through the airport terminals, in America, you have to take your shoes off.
Yeah.
So I take my socks off, and I've got my shoes off, and I've got no socks on. And Frank gives me untold stick, and he actually points to them in front of everyone and goes, "Look at this geezer. He's absolutely disgraceful. Look at his feet. Look
at the first class crew."
No, it's on the PJ. And yeah, so no socks on. Where were we? Cordina. So Zelfa Barrett, big fights, big unifications. The atmosphere tomorrow night's going to be amazing. Special performance as well. And the roof will be raised. And it's a really good high-level fight. It's a brilliant night of boxing.
Eddie, Anthony Joshua's come out in the last 24 hours and said that on his side he feels like there's 95% there on the Deontay Wilder fight. Now, you're off to Saudi Arabia next week, which you revealed in an interview earlier on this week. Are you on the 95% front, or is that a little bit optimistic?
Yeah, I think, look, we know that because we know that we've done deals before in Saudi Arabia. We've known that Skills Challenge are serious players. They're serious about this fight. AJ has a great relationship, so do we. We know Deontay Wilder wants the fight. We know the money's there. So I don't, you know, outside of finalising those details, I don't think there's a lot more to do. It's going to take something big to secure the fight, and something big is what they have. And I'll be there next week, and we'll go through everything with Prince Khalid and Skills Challenge. And we're very excited to make this night happen. I think it's going to be an incredible night for boxing. And, yeah, looking forward to seeing if we can get it over the line. But we'll see what next week brings.
What do you make of Tyson Fury being the only fighter involved out of the four that's come out and completely publicly denied the plans that Saudi Arabia are trying to make this happen?
I don't know. You know, I mean, I think that he's obviously was involved in some discussions about the Usyk fight that didn't materialise. I guess he's not involved in the conversations, but members of his team definitely are. I can't really comment or worry too much about Tyson Fury. My plan is just to lock in AJ's fight with Deontay Wilder, if that's our part of the night. And it's up to Tyson Fury whether he wants to fight Usyk. I mean, there's not going to be a better opportunity. There's not going to be more money. So I don't see why he wouldn't take it, and hopefully we can make it happen.
Fury, next two fights expected to be July 22nd or July 15, against either not Kubrat Pulev, like the fake account had most of us to believe in, but Andy Ruiz or Zhilei Zhang.
Is it? I didn't know where the Zhilei Zhang bit came from, but
that's just come out this evening.
Yeah, I mean, someone asked me who do I think it would be, and I think it will be Andy Ruiz. I know no one's really told me that. I think Bob Arum said to me that they might look at that fight. I don't know about Zhilei Zhang. I think that could be an option as well. I think UFC are now going July 22nd, so I don't know if that's still the plan for that date. But
July 15, another possible date for them.
Okay. But I think that our plans in terms of a July fight or early August will hinge on the conversations next week. Everybody else, it appears, in the tournament will fight. So therefore, we would like to fight as well, in all honesty. And I think we will. But a lot depends on those conversations next week.
Zhang, someone who's in there, he's been made the Ring Magazine's number 4 ranked heavyweight. I thought, I was quite surprised that he was put straight in at 4. Maybe they look a little bit at the performance against Hrgovic. I know you can't judge directly off that, hence why he didn't go into a higher position than Hrgovic after Saudi.
Where was Joe Joyce in the rankings? 6, 7? Yeah.
I think he's 7 now, 6 or 7.
So, when you beat the guy who's 5th or 6th.
4's right?
No, I mean, I think when you look at it, the Ring Magazine champion is Tyson Fury, right?
Alexander Usyk.
Yeah, of course. Alexander Usyk. Tyson Fury number 2. AJ number 3. Wilder number 4. For me, I mean, I think they've put Wilder 3 and AJ 4, haven't they? I think. So are you sure Zhang's 4?
Champion Usyk.
Yeah.
1 Fury. 2 Wilder. 3 Joshua. 4 Zhang.
Okay.
Who's 5th?
Gillian White?
No.
I believe he is.
No.
Andy Ruiz?
Yeah, it might be, because I'm pretty sure White's in 6th and Joyce is in 7th.
And, yeah.
What do you think of Ortiz still being in the top 10?
Ortiz is a good heavyweight. I mean...
Yeah, but he's not top 10, is he still?
Who do you replace him with?
Yeah, on the top of my head, I don't know, actually. But I probably would. I think he's in 8th, and I don't think I'd have him in 8th.
Doesn't really matter what you think, Parsons.
Yeah, I was going to say, not my job.
Really irrelevant. But yeah, I don't know what your question is. Bit of a waste of time discussing.
Really?
Well, I don't know why we're...
I said, what do you make of Zhang being number 4? Anyway, that was on the original point of Fury maybe fighting Zhilei Zhang or Andy Ruiz. But can you see him fighting Zhang?
Zhang will not win a round against Tyson Fury. Zhang will not win a round... Sorry, Andy Ruiz will probably not win a round against Tyson Fury, as he didn't against Anthony Joshua in the second fight. But he's got to fight someone. I don't mind the Andy Ruiz fight. I just think Zhang's too slow. At least Ruiz has got some speed.
I know you spoke to Coogan about it earlier in the week. Were you surprised by the outcome? I know you put out a tweet or a story afterwards saying heard it all before, that sort of thing.
Yeah, because I did think Joe Joyce would win the fight. I thought he would overrun it. He just gets hit with everything, and I just, I don't take it personally when people call out AJ, but when Joyce isn't that guy. He's targeted AJ, saying he'll steamroll him and he's shot and this, and I just feel like when you look at what AJ's achieved, I don't think Joyce has achieved anything in his professional career. His best wins is Joseph Parker and Dubois, and that's it. So, AJ's achieved a lot, and I think they just got ahead of themselves, and it all come unstuck. But I think he should rematch Zhang, and I think he can beat him, by the way.
What's next for Filip Hrgovic?
Waiting on, obviously, he's mandatory for Alexander Usyk. Looks like he's going to fight for the interim title. And that'll be...
IBF don't really do interims, do they?
They do when you're waiting for a kind of rotation system on a mandatory. So we'll have to see. But he'll be fighting, looks like, towards the middle end of June.
Gervonta Tank Davis versus Ryan Garcia tomorrow night.
Very interesting. What a great fight.
What a great fight.
And if you're an American subscriber, it's very important to know that the pay-per-view price is $60 if you're a DAZN subscriber. And, of course, if you're a UK subscriber, congratulations, it's part of your subscription. See, on Showtime and other platforms, it's actually $84.99, but only $60 on DAZN. Anyway, what do I think of the fight? I think it's a tremendous fight. I don't like the 3 p.m. weigh-in, which is coming up in half an hour, which I'm
hoping that they'd have sort of weighed in.
Yeah, 3 p.m. I believe. I don't like the rehydration clause, which I think is 1 p.m. or something tomorrow.
He's got a lot against him, doesn't he?
And there's a one-way rematch clause. But so I want to say fair play to Ryan Garcia for taking the fight, really not against his will, but obviously with a lot against him. I think those factors will play a part in the fight, and I think he'll get stopped. But I think he can win the fight. I think he can punch, and he's a great fighter, and it's a tremendous fight for boxing, and I can't wait to watch it.
Eduardinho, yesterday I asked you about Conor Benn, and you said I grilled you, right? Not often I get that, to be honest, so that's a change according to most of the comments. You said you wanted to explore a little bit more and you're not happy with things being leaked to the media as opposed to yourself and the Sims team and Conor Benn's legal team and management, etc. finding out. What have you sort of managed to confirm in the last 24 hours?
At the end of the day, I want to speak to the board because this whole...
Not yet?
No. This whole process, they'll be there tomorrow night, this whole process is supposed to be confidential. I mean, so confidential, as I said, I didn't know anything about it, nor did Tony Sims. Yet, you're asked for it to be confidential, right? So even if I knew about it, I couldn't tell you. But why am I getting calls from the media to tell me about it when it's confidential between the board, UKAD, and Conor Benn and Conor Benn's team? We don't know about it, the media do. And I really don't want to go on about it. But if you think that the way that it's been handled is fair, and the way that it's leaked to the media is fair, it's almost like trial before trial. People have found him guilty, and they've got the document, they've got everything you want to make their decision. So let them make their decision, but I just feel it's so unfair for Conor Benn that it's different for him than it is for every other fighter. I've never seen this before in any other case. The Tyson Fury case, the Dillian White case, the Amir Khan case, all confidential. But this is leak after leak after leak to the media, and it looks like an agenda to me. So I'll be saying that to Robert Smith tomorrow night, and he can say, oh, it's not come from us. Well, it's come from someone. It's come from the board to someone, or UKAD to someone, and I don't think it's fair. So anyway, look, they've got the document, they'll go through the process, and we'll go from there.
Just quickly, actually, on the topic of UKAD and everything. Tomorrow night, I believe you're not using UKAD. Is that correct?
No, I don't believe so. We don't choose whether we use UKAD. The board...
Sorry, VADA testing for the fight.
No. UKAD will test for the fight, yeah. You're quite right, you threw me there. UKAD will test him for this fight, yeah.
But it's not VADA, am I right? No. Charlie Sims told me, I can't remember the exact name of it. What is the testing?
Drug-free sport.
That's it.
Yeah. Drug-free sport is another accredited testing system, and the main reason for that sometimes is cost. Sometimes we use USADA, sometimes we use VADA. We've used drug-free sport for years, and they're just another testing agency that we use.
I spoke to Charlie Sims quite in depth yesterday about the whole situation and sort of how it's been received, and especially on the leakings that you've spoke about, etc. Something he spoke about is the testing. I've asked you about the standard of testing before. Are you on the same side that you're worried that there might be inconsistencies now with VADA? And
no, look, I can't. I think that as far as testing companies go, I think VADA do a good job. But it doesn't mean they always do a good job. Just like anything. I'm the best promoter in the world. Doesn't mean every show's great. Sometimes you make mistakes, sometimes things go wrong. And that's the same for those kind of for companies as well. There's a lot in the report that's concerning. And that's been taken on board. That's why it was reinstated in the rankings. And that's why UKAD will make their decision, we'll see. But VADA, they're all very good testing companies, and a lot of them use the same laboratories. But things do go wrong during processes. And I think you can't just accept things if you plead your innocence and you believe in your innocence, and that's obviously the process that Conor's going through.
I know we don't know much about the Puello case, but obviously that was with VADA as well, also for clone thing. Does that suggest anything or not really?
Look, when we spoke to the UFC, it's not the first time this problem's arisen on that substance. So I think there's going to be a lot coming out about it. But again, maybe it's something in a 6 months' time, maybe it's something in 2 years' time where people realise that Conor Benn's innocent. But we'll have to see how it unfolds.
At what point does he go to the board with his 270-page dossier? We know that there's a lot of ego involved.
They've got it.
What now, through going to UKAD, it's with the board. So the board can technically clear him to fight.
The board have nothing to do with it. Not because we don't want them to have anything to do with it. They don't want anything to do with it. As Smith said to me, send the report to UKAD. UKAD are the people dealing with this issue, not the board. The board will acknowledge UKAD's findings and results and honour that suspension, if you like. Do you know what I mean? So it's not the board. Now, Robert Smith doesn't go through this document. UKAD do. And they've got everything they need.
Any sort of worries with UKAD at all with everything that's happened or not? Really?
Well, yes. I don't believe that the system with the board and UKAD is fit for purpose. And I would like to know why a number of members of the media know all the information about this situation before I do.
Okay, Eddie. You replied to a tweet from an interview. Shout out Lewis Hart from Boxing Social. Interviewed Ben Shalom today. He sort of said that the Frazer-Clarke, Fabio Wardley, Frazer-Clarke, whatever way you want to put it, stated it will happen when it's meant to and at the right time for Frazer. Your thoughts?
Absolute madness. I mean, I'm very confused. I mean, firstly, Frazer-Clarke gets a blessing from God to get ordered as the mandatory after, 5 fights, no 10-rounders, just 8-rounders. And all of a sudden, the purse bids are, I think, 12th of May or something like that. Everyone seems very excited. Then all of a sudden, it's announced that Frazer-Clarke will box on the 10th of June. Absolutely ridiculous, embarrassing. So we speak to the board and say, are you allowing that? Because actually within the board's rules, another thing that the board will have to deal with in the future is they don't have any rules around purse bids. So I'm going to Ipswich. We're going to put a massive bid in for the fight, right? And to take place at the end of June or first week of July. But Frazer-Clarke's fighting on June 10th. So Robert Smith was like, yeah, actually it doesn't really work, does it? No, it doesn't work. So I said to Frazer-Clarke, you've got 2 choices. You either pull out of June 10th and fight us, and if we lose the purse bid, fair enough, or you fight June 10th and we fight somebody else, and then we'll fight you later on. But Frazer-Clarke seems very vocal. Frazer-Clarke wants to fight. I believe he wants to fight.
Yeah, so he's come out and said that he's happy not to fight on June 10th.
Not since the interview.
No, not since this interview, but as of last night.
What I want to know is, the interview we heard today was basically Ben Shalom saying, we don't want the fight. Now, we'll tell you when he's ready for the fight, or we'll tell you he'll take the fight at the right time for Frazer-Clarke. No, it's no problem. I mean, he gets beat. He's not ready for the fight. Fabio's going to bash him up. But we like the fight now. We actually think it's an advantage to take the fight now because Frazer's inexperienced. But if you want to wait and you're not ready, don't give it the big one. Just pass.
Picking that back up.
Or we'll fight Adelaide or Dacres or someone that is ready. So, look, Frazer-Clarke wants the fight, but he needs to speak to his team because his team are making him sound silly and his team are making him sound like he's not ready for the fight. And it's a bad look. And it actually, from a confidence point of view, Fabio's watching it going, I'm going to smash you to pieces. So hopefully he can take the fight, but I understand he has to speak to his team.
What did you make of those comments, though?
Just inexperience. You don't undermine your fighter like that and basically tell people that he's not ready for that fight because that's what they said. They'll fight when he's ready. But that's fine. I don't think he's ready either. But he seems to think he is.
Alen Babic, then you didn't want his fight this weekend.
Am I what?
That you didn't want his fight this weekend, that's what he said.
Was that what he said? No, I bid for it. But I bid 80 grand. And I think they won with 350. So he makes a lot of money this weekend. I hope he wins. I texted him today. I love Alen. But I can't, it wasn't a headline fight for me in the UK. So therefore I have to bid an amount that fits on as a co-main event on a show. And that was it. And I thought it was a good bid, but it wasn't enough.
Do you see yourself working with him still in the future?
Love to. I think he wins tomorrow night. I think he becomes world champion. And I'm behind him 100%.
Okay. May 27 is being discussed a lot at the minute. Apparently Ben Shalom's had conversations with George Warren or vice versa. I can't remember what way round it is. In fact, it might be yourself and George Warren. Yeah, sorry.
Conlon against Lopez is going at 9, and Wood-Lara is going at 10.
What about CBS Acola?
Hopefully, I mean, be a good idea to go at 11 or quarter to 11 or something, and towards bedtime. But it's up to them. Like I think Conlon's going early, which is very early, but it's a good time. I think we need to start.
It's
going
nice
early.
as well.
We need to start going earlier. Sometimes we always plan for a 10 p.m. main event, but it doesn't always work out that way. And 11's too late, so we're going 10 p.m. Laurelwood.
How excited are you for that? Obviously, Jack Catterall making his debut under Matchroom against Dara Foley, the absolute lunatic that won last time out against Robbie Davies Jr. Few announcements being made on that card. Excited?
Yeah, really big card, May 27th. Obviously, big night for us with Jack Catterall against Daryl Foley, and of course Wood against Lara too. Just an unbelievable fight. Campbell Hatton, Akib Fiaz, William Croller as well, making his pro debut on that card. Aaron Bowen, loads of talent, and Janae Boston, and looking forward to a massive night in Manchester, May 27. Huge May. May 6th, Canelo against John Ryder. May 20, Taylor Cameron. May 27th, Lara against Wood, and can't wait, mate.
Floyd Mayweather has come out and said he'd like to sign Francis Ngannou to Mayweather Promotions.
Yeah, good luck with that one. They need a fighter. Mayweather Promotions.
Someone told me in response to the video.
Trying to remember a name.
Rolly Romero.
Rolly Romero is with Mayweather Promotions?
That's what someone said.
Don't think so.
I didn't think so myself.
No, maybe they had an option. No. Mayweather Promotions don't have one fighter you've ever heard of. True.
Have you had anything back from Ellaby?
No. What was you expecting? No.
A few more from me. Any more new signings from Matchroom? Obviously at the Anthony Joshua weigh-in, it was quite an exciting time. Shannon Ryan, Sonny Edwards and Jack Catterall all coming on board. Anything that you're working on, Eduardinho?
Yes, there's at least 2 fighters we're in discussions with.
Is there an Australian in there?
No. Who are you thinking?
Opataya?
No, we've had discussions, but I think he's got a few issues going on. But yeah.
Any hints on these?
No. Both world champions.
That's enough. June the 10th. June the 10th? Yeah. Is that the one?
We're hoping to announce the card tomorrow night.
So it's not going to be Warrington against...
No, it could be Warrington, could be Sonny Edwards. I've announced most of the other fights on the card, but trying to announce on a broadcast tomorrow, and we'll see.
Josh Warrington, Jazza Dickens, I did ask you the other day.
Unlikely.
Jazz has been very, very vocal.
Yes,
Why is it unlikely?
I don't know. I think obviously been some back and forths. Just doesn't look like a fight we're going to make at this time. But Josh Warrington may still fight June 10th. I'm dying for the toilet.
Okay. Just quickly then.
Sorry, yeah.
Just Stop Oil protester at the snooker. Your thoughts?
I mean, my thoughts are I think my old man's on one, and he wants to fund the spectators that were there that day to go to a small claims court and sue for their ticket, their travel, any other costs they incurred that day, any emotional cost or pain that they received that day. And each of those small claims will need that protester in attendance. There's 400 of them. And I think it's going to cost 400 or 500 grand. But I don't know what else, I mean, look, the marathons this weekend, they've got to be very careful because certain events is a different kind of audience. And there's one thing doing it in the snooker.
Well, that brings my next question.
And I wouldn't do it at the boxing if I was there.
What would happen?
Well, I think there's a lot of people who come from different kind of upbringing and backgrounds that might behave differently. They'd be very annoyed. And the London Marathon, which is a very emotional event where people are running for loved ones, for charities, and they've just got to be careful. No one wants to see people getting hurt, any violence, and it's going to lead to that because people have had enough. So, yeah, hopefully hopefully everyone can be sensible.
Eddie, just really quickly, yesterday I asked you a little bit about the article that come out and said if you were to promote an event with Conor Benn abroad, with WADA working with UKAD and obviously UKAD working with the British Boxing Board of Control, that it could lead to penalties for yourself. Have you explored that anymore?
No, not yet. I expect Conor Benn's suspension to be lifted, to be honest with you, but we'll have to see what happens. And obviously each individual jurisdiction will make their own decision, and we'll make ours in accordance.
We're getting closer and closer to June 3 for Conor Benn.
Yeah,
Is
it
that
could be pushed to June 17? I think it's more likely at this stage that would become June 17.
still in Abu Dhabi?
Quite possibly.
Eddie, thank you very much, mate.
See you tomorrow for the big night. And don't forget, tomorrow night on DAZN, Cordina Rakhimov, huge card in Cardiff. On to Gervonta Davis against Ryan Garcia, all live on DAZN.